Honestly, now that you've put it like, I've never actually thought a bit about it in that capacity.
Liam Crowley with comicbook.com here with the aerial assassin, the Billy Goat, the bringer of euphoria, Mr. Will Ospreay himself, who's taken on Roderick Strong for the AEW International title this Sunday at AEW Double or Nothing. Will, thank you so much for taking the time.
Anytime, mate. Lovely seeing you again. You good?
Yeah, man, I'm doing fantastic. You're clearly on top of the world, just killing it in AEW. But I want to flash back to 2019. That's when AEW launched as a promotion with this very show, Double or Nothing. You were sought after. I remember hearing conversations that Tony had approached you way back then just to kind of gauge your interest in joining the promotion. Do you remember where you were during the first Double or Nothing, and how did you watch the show?
I think I was in Japan for the best of the Super Juniors. I think that was the time I was actually uh planning. Yeah, I was in the processes of sorting out my apartment and moving over to Japan. Yeah, Tony back in February of 2019 came to York Hall, Bethnal Green, for a Revolution Pro Wrestling show where I faced Pac in that the only match that we've ever done. It's a 30-minute time limit draw, so that's still an unanswered question. And Tony came backstage how I'd feel about just doing, even if it was just quote unquote dream matches for the AEW. And I just said, like, with all due respect, I just want to focus on New Japan right now because I feel like I'm really starting to understand the Japanese style of wrestling, and I still felt like I was learning the trade. weren't rude, weren't, and I just said like I want you to do your own thing, but like I'm going to do my thing first, and I'm going to be supporting on the sidelines. I've supported ever since.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And at Double or Nothing, you're making your debut at this pay-per-view when you take on Roderick Strong. You've wrestled Roderick before, but way back when, in at least in a singles capacity, according to Cage Match, you guys had two singles matches in 2015. Do you remember having those matches, and what kind of competitor do you feel like you were back then?
I still feel like I was learning the trade, and if you probably watched those matches, both of them were like very much. I didn't win the match; I just survived it personally. So like now is the point where I am a fully grown man now. I have all these accolades under my belt, and Roderick is without doubt one of the best wrestlers in the world today. He's a Ring of Honor legend. He's a wrestling legend, and he's now entering this new stratosphere of who he is as a professional wrestler. So now finally, I feel like I'm at my peak and he's at his peak, and we're going to probably put on one of the best matches on that card.
Yeah, absolutely. And back then, it was 2015. You were still on the British independent scene. It was before you first joined New Japan. And then obviously we just mentioned those initial conversations with AEW. You were looking to stay in New Japan and eventually evolve to the heavyweight scene. It seems like each time you're about to sign a contract, you have evolved as a competitor over the duration of that contractual period. So now with this AEW deal, this being your first AEW contract, where do you see yourself evolving to when it's all said and done in the next couple of years?
That's such a hard question to do because like I don't really look that far advanced into like obviously I'm here for the long run, but I don't look that far in advance. I feel like people that do look that far in advance aren't realistic. I always because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like I mean, I'm sure when Darby broke his foot, he wasn't thinking about walking out into the public and getting hit by a bus. So like, you know what I mean? So stuff happens all the time and takes us into different directions. So I honestly I don't know what my stratosphere is going to be, but like I like taking things one step at a time. And right now, I cannot tell you enough how much I'm just enjoying my role and what I'm doing in AEW. I couldn't imagine what it was going to look like, and I'm blown away and I'm overwhelmed by the response that I've been getting.
Yeah, the response you've been getting from crowds every week is tremendous, but also from peers within the wrestling industry. It was said recently that you and AJ Styles had a conversation when you were kind of at that career crossroads last year. Just for someone like AJ, who you have waxed poetic about, of him being such a mentor to you in this industry, you've said that you got into wrestling because of AJ himself. What did it mean to you when he himself reached out to you to just kind of give you advice at that point in your career?
I mean, honestly, I was blown away by it, and like he was so like complimentary of what I've been, and like I guess just when you hear stuff through the grapevine, he just wanted just to fly the flag for his company, and I can't tell you enough how much I've admired that guy's work and how much I've so much respect for him, and just how he's completely changed from the guy that I used to watch wrestle when he was in TNA, how he's completely adapted, and he's still AJ Styles to this day, man. And like that honestly means so much to me that he would just take time out of his day, man. Like he doesn't need to do it. He like could just let it be like a little Twitter message or whatever it wants to be. But the fact that like he just kept an eye on it and just saw that there was an opportunity to potentially bring me over to his company. Like it didn't work out, and like it worked out amazing for me. But like I'll always have like a moment in time where a guy that I still to this day say is my hero, like phoned me up in the middle of Japan just to chat with me and just to talk with me and just to give me some advice.
Yeah, that's so special. AJ is great. I had the chance to chat with him about a month ago, and like you said, he's still performing like he's in his like mid-20s and he's into his 40s now. It's phenomenal to see, no pun intended. Something that's happened with you with your AEW career so far is you've mentioned obviously like you can't look too far into the future of what can change, but little tweaks have been made to your presentation. That being your entrance. Obviously, we're hyping up those Ospreay chants. The spotlight comes down, but one thing fans have picked up on, myself included, is that you kind of have this catchphrase now. You're ending your promos with "on another level." How did that catchphrase come to be?
It was just one of those things where like I would do like one of these crazy little sequences. Like I feel like where this came from is there was a sequence that I did with Hiromu at Wrestle Kingdom where I would do the Sasuke special and he moved and he went for a German suplex and I landed on my feet. Then I ran towards him and he belly to belly suplexed me into the ring and I rolled through the ropes and then was able to finally hit the Sasuke special. And I feel like there was a tweet from one of the gift makers and it was just like, well, Will's on another level. And I just thought, yeah, I'll take it. I've been saying it for a while now, but like I guess when you say it in Japan, a lot of Japanese audience don't really understand as much English. But like, I just wanted to see if I could like start getting it into my like promos, and maybe one of these days the entire audience will say it with me. Like, I mean, I can only hope, but you never know.
Oh, I think it'll definitely happen one day. Another thing that was changed very briefly when you first signed with AEW and you came out at Full Gear, your colors were red, white, and blue, kind of emulating the United Kingdom flag. But now you've back to embraced the green and gold. What was kind of the decision behind going in that direction with your presentation?
I mean, the green. I always want to have with my United Empire boys. So, and the way I'm going to put this is the red, white, and blue are home colours, and the green and gold colours are away colours. So, when Wembley comes around, those colours will probably change.
Amazing. We're definitely looking forward to All In. Your match with Bryan Danielson at Dynasty shook me to my core. I've never seen a wrestling match like it, and I feel like I say that after every one of your big matches. But something that really struck me was I was at Grand Slam 2021, and when the bell rang for Omega and Danielson, the crowd gave a standing ovation. And the only other time I've seen that happen is yourself and Danielson, the bell ringing, everyone stands up, the holy chants are going, the this is awesome chants are going, and you guys haven't done anything. When, you know, for someone like you who spent many months of his career, years even, wrestling in front of clap crowds, what did it feel like to get that ovation before you've literally done anything?
Honestly, now that you've put it like, I've never actually thought a bit about it in that capacity before, just because in Japan, like, yeah, for the last 3 years, it was just in silence. A lot of it was just in complete silence. So then you would get like little spurs of a reaction. But like, I think that might have been the first time where the bell rung on American soil and everybody just stood up and was just chanting AEW and holy shit. And so for me, that was overwhelming. But like, in the same sense, like I've said in one of the other interviews that I've done today, I didn't feel like I was punching up. Like with the Omega match, I felt like I was punching up. With the Jericho match, I feel I was punching up. For the first time, I generally felt like I was one of the people that I was watching growing up.
Absolutely. And I mentioned Omega, obviously. I believe it came out today that he underwent surgery for his diverticulitis. I know any conversations about ending that trilogy are kind of on the back burner, but since you signed with AEW, have you had the chance to catch up with Kenny at all?
Nah, I don't want to.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah,
here's hoping the next time you guys see each other, we'll actually be inside the ring.
yeah. Well, like any opportunity I get to cave that little head in, any time, mate, any time.
It's gonna be fun if that match ever does come to fruition. We mentioned All in London earlier in this interview. This August's edition seems like it's going to be even bigger than the first one. I talked with Tony Khan a couple months ago, and I asked him if you guys were having conversations about kind of the creative behind the show. And he said yes, that you guys were having conversations. Obviously, I don't want to get into any spoilers if they're match related, but are you having conversations about just kind of the setup of the show, the production of the show, getting the greater UK scene involved? Like, what kind of conversations are you having?
I mean, we're having conversations with a company that I have worked with before about potentially doing an entrance, which on if we can pull this off would be incredible. So I'll leave it at that and hope that people will start putting certain things together. But I don't want to go too deep into it. But in terms of Wembley coming up this year, I feel a lot more pressure this time because now I'm not an outsider coming in. I'm now a part of the system. I'm a roster member, and I've had all this time to build up fan interest for any AEW British fans or even European fans because it's so easy to get over to London if you're from France, Spain, or anywhere in Europe. It's so easy with 4 different London airports that you can easily get to. So many different train lines. So for me now is going to be very exciting to be a part of the system and now like going into this Wembley where now is just it's about showcasing what I'm all about and they have an idea of what I've done, but now with this whole build up and people now understanding who I am as a man now, I think is very important.
Absolutely. Do you think Wembley's going to deliver the loudest Ospreay chants this year?
Oh, I keep thinking about that all the time, and I don't know what that's going to sound like. I heard it in the Tokyo Dome, and that was huge. But Wembley's twice the size of it, so I honestly think it might blow me on my fucking ass, mate. I won't lie to you.
I'm excited to see what that crowd is going to be like. It was raucous last year. Now that we have a year to build the show, it's going to be even bigger. Last August, I had the honor of chatting with Ricochet, and I don't know how closely you follow the NBA, but a comparison I gave him was that Trae Young and Luka Doncic, 2 rookies, were traded for one another on the day of the NBA draft, and they're polar opposite players, but they will always be connected for that moment that they had at the draft. And I feel like that's you and Ricochet. No matter how your careers take you guys, because of the matches you guys had in the 2010s, everyone will always link Ospreay and Ricochet together. Do you still keep up with Ricochet's work, and have you just had the chance to check out what he's doing lately?
Yeah, honestly, like I keep up with him all the time, and sometimes I get a little bit sad about it. I hope he's not sad, and I hope he's real happy. I keep up with him as much as I can, but just I feel like people are forgetting who Ricochet was once upon a time. Like all of these high flyers that you see, and myself included, we all took inspiration from Pac and Ricochet. And I, I don't really care. Like the fact that they only value his time for under 5 minutes is appalling to me. And I just want people to remember who he is. Like if you go and look at 2012 to 2013 Dragon Gate Ricochet, he was untouchable at the time, man. So for me now, like I don't know how much longer he's got in his contract, but I think it might be up soon, man. Like I don't know, maybe, but I just want him. I want him to know that like there are people here that generally appreciate his work and like I want to wrestle him again. I want him back here. I want him to know that like there isn't like a bar. Like you are the bar. When it came to this generation of high flyers, he was the greatest. He is the greatest high flyer ever. And like I know this sounds weird, but like I do include like I do put him on the same level as Rey Mysterio. Obviously, Rey Mysterio has that history with the mask and everything, but he just changed the game in terms of what an athletic professional wrestler looks like. Him and Pac, anyway. So I just want to see him with more time and an ability to showcase himself how I saw him because he should have been the junior heavyweight champion. He should have had more opportunities. He's one of the best going. And if the opportunity presents itself, I think he should bet on himself. And I think he should remind himself that he is one of the best high flyers to ever do it. And if it means he's got to come for me, then like do it, boss, because like I'm right here waiting for you.
Yeah, it's worked out tremendously for you, and I know modern audiences deserve to see an Ospreay Ricochet match happen sometime in the 2020s. Before we get out of here, Will, I want to play a little game called Start, Bench, Cut with you. Basically, I'm going to give you 3 options. You're going to start one, put it in your starting lineup, bench one, not have it start, and then cut one, get it off the team entirely. 3 different categories for you here. Starting with finishers, we got the Hidden Blade, Stormbreaker, and the Os Cutter.
What are the 3 categories in bench, cut, and what was the other one?
Start. So like basically 1, 2. It's essentially 1, 2, 3. Start is number 1, bench is number 2, cut is number 3.
Hidden Blade 1, Stormbreaker 2, Os Cutter. Os Cutter's killing me these days.
Factions: United Empire, the Don Callis family, and the Swords of Essex.
Why'd you have to make me pick with the Callis family, man? Like, United Empire will always be number 1 for me. It is hard because like the Swords of Essex is like Paul's my brother. Like, you know what I mean? He's literally like the guy. Like, Swords of Essex, Callis family.
Fair. And then finally, chants: the Bruv chants, the Olay version of the Ospreay chants, and then the elevated Ospreay chants.
The Ospreay chance is one. I do love the Bruv chants now because I do think it is so funny. Like, just it is something that I just let it just comes out. It's almost like my version of a comma. Like, you know what I mean? I love the Bruv chants, and the Ospreay Olay chants have been going ever since I wrestled Ricochet, which is crazy. Like, that's where the Ospreay chants actually came from. They were Ricochet's chants. And it was the first time we ever wrestled each other. The fans took that, and it just went around the world from there.
Wow. Yeah, and so much sentimentalness with all the chants coming to a head. One final question for you, Will, before we get out of here. I always love to ask wrestlers what they're doing in the gym because physical fitness is a huge part of my life. In one of your first AEW promos, you proclaimed in your green tracksuit that you looked like Kermit the Frog hit leg day. So what does a Will Ospreay leg day routine look like?
Right. I've got like these walking lunges. I've got like I really have to look at it because my memory is so like I do just the basic bog standard shit. Like I squat, I do my hamstrings, I like do my quads, and like I'll be honest with you, I hate doing leg day. I hate it. No one enjoys doing leg day. It's a nightmare, but we have to do it because I mean, goddamn, someone's got to keep this butt peachy. But like, yeah, dude, I think I've got like something like I do 4 sets like between like I'm doing more like endurance based, so I'm doing like 8 to 12s, and it's like squats, it's leg extensions, hamstring curls, walking lunges. I don't do a leg press, strangely. I don't know why. I've been trying to incorporate some like box jumps now because I feel like I am in the weight that I have put on. I've almost like lost a bit of mobility, so I'm like trying to like regain some of that junior heavyweight will.
Yeah, absolutely. The transformation from junior to heavyweight is astounding. I've seen the Chris Van Vliet interview when you first talked about the transformation. Will, those are all the questions I have. Again, I just want to say thank you for your time. And I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. And I know you always hear this kind of stuff, but I drove 1,300 miles from Boston to Toronto to see you wrestle at Forbidden Door because I didn't know if I'd ever get the chance to see you wrestle in America. And I'm very honored and privileged that you get to come out each and every week on AEW. So again, thank you for everything you've done for the wrestling industry. And I am so stoked to see what you and Roddy do this Sunday at Double or Nothing.
Bless you, my man. I'm very excited for Double or Nothing as well. I hope everybody gets the pay-per-view and buys the tickets because I'm going to deliver one of the best matches I've got.